So, welcome to our webinar today about how to optimize your LinkedIn profile. I've got with me today Joe from Cherry Pick People, one of our senior consultants here,
Hello,
who's thanks for joining us, Joe. He's
thanks for having me.
you're more than welcome. He's recently written a playbook for people out there on how to maximize their LinkedIn profile and sort of make it most attractive to prospective employers and really just get it tip top. We're going to do a short webinar today, only 15 minutes long, but if you do have any questions at all, by all means, post them in the comments and we'll answer them if we can. But quickly, Joe today is going to give us a sort of overview, maybe some 5 top tips on what you can do to improve your LinkedIn profile. As I say, we've got the playbook, which we'll put in the comments at the end, so you can download the actual playbook for yourself to read over at your leisure. So, Joe, do you want to give us give us a give us some of those top tips then as to what we can look for?
Yeah, of course. I mean, as Alex said,
do you do?
the playbook's actually quite extensive. So what I'm going to go through here is a very small amount of what's actually in that. So there's a lot more detail within that. So this is just going to be a gloss over of 5 key points that I think are probably things that you can take away today and implement immediately. The things in the playbook's more of a step-by-step structure that might work for now, but also over a longer period. So to start with, there's 2 things you really need to consider when it comes to optimizing your LinkedIn profile for potential employers slash recruiters. The first thing you need to think about is making your profile actually discoverable. I mean, that's pretty much the basics of why you're on LinkedIn, is for people to be able to find you and you find other people. The second thing you need to think about is, once somebody actually gets to your page, how easy is it for them to build a picture of you, and how quick and easy can they actually establish who you are and what they do, really why do they want to speak to you. So there's a pretty common figure that gets pinged around within the recruitment industry. It's something not a lot of people probably know outside of it, but that is that it takes 6 to 8 seconds for a recruiter to review your CV. So in 6 to 8 seconds, somebody needs to look at your CV, extract the information that they need in order to make a decision about moving forward, with that person. Now, LinkedIn isn't massively different from that. We do take a little bit longer because the information could be harder to extract. But that kind of figure goes to show, how important it is to actually have your information at the forefront, and it's easy to access for us, so we can actually make a decision. So yeah, LinkedIn does actually make that quite easy for somebody to do. So yeah, here's a few highlights from the playbook. So your profile picture, first and foremost, that's a pretty basic thing, but it's actually really important for us because it's one of the first things that we see. It probably sounds quite petty to say that it's super important, because the information on your profile probably should be more important, but it actually really is. You'll be surprised how often we can find somebody's profile that's, their picture's probably from a Facebook profile picture from 10 years ago, and they're at a party glassy eyed, and it's that's fine to show a little bit of personality, but you are on a professional social networking environment. So and it also kind of goes both ways. So depending on your industry, because this can be industry specific, the pinstriped shiny suit, hair to the side, stern business face isn't going to work for every industry. So you need to find a happy medium. So something that kind of gets your personality across, something casual, shirt like I'm wearing now with the top 2 buttons undone, that's absolutely fine, and a clear background. It doesn't have to be super professional, but also, you need to be very careful about it being unprofessional and kind of make them meet in the middle if you can. Again, passport photo style, it's fine, but it doesn't make you overly approachable, if that makes sense. The second thing, which surprisingly I don't see a lot of people actually have on their profile, which is quite surprising, is the headline section. So a lot of people have a about section, but we don't have the highlights section, the headline section, sorry, which is really important for a couple of reasons. So when we build a list, when we're going through it on LinkedIn, if you're coming from this from a non-recruiter perspective, you might not realize that when we're going through this list, we have your profile picture, which, you know, we just went over. We have your current
Mhm.
company, your current role, but then we also can see your headline. So if you are working for a large company, I don't know, that works in, let's say, 6 different sectors, you know, you're in advertising, they work in multiple industries. When we're going through that list, we're not going to be able to see that as we're going through. So you can actually use that section to highlight your specific specialities. That was a bit of a tongue twister for me there, sorry. Your specific specialities, so we can see that as we're going through that list, and we can make a decision to move forward to actually go into your full profile. Because again, you know, 6 to 8 seconds it's supposed to take us to look at a CV, but also when we're going through these lists, you know, we're rapid fire, we're going through hundreds of these, so it's really important to make sure that headline highlights your, you know, your specialities within your interest, but also some think about your personality. So, for example, my headline at the moment is prop tech, contech, and real estate enthusiast, helping to
Mhm.
grow global teams through networking led recruitment. And at the end, I have lover of Arsenal, hater of coriander. And
A little bit of
so you might
personality in
agree
there
or
as well.
disagree on those two things, but adding that little bit of personality makes you a lot more approachable, and it makes you instantly a lot more engaging to somebody. So I probably get 10 messages a week from, you know, businesses and people looking for jobs as well, and the first thing they say is, you know, hi Joe, yeah, hater of coriander, also a hater of Arsenal, sorry, something like that. But it's a really,
Yeah.
it's a really good way to start a conversation. Like, they don't think they have to go in with all business. You know, it
Mhm.
starts off with something nice and polite, and I've kind of left that door open for them to start that conversation. um doesn't always
Yeah.
work in my favor, because it kind of helps people pitch a lot of stuff to me that I don't need, but that's fine. You know, it's all about conversations, and it's all about networking. That's what LinkedIn's all about. And on the networking bit,
Just
actually, so number 3 is actually more of a networking part of
just just before you
the.
jump into
Yeah, yeah,
that,
of
Joe,
course.
can I see we've got a question from Carly, which said, how much detail do you think you need to put on each role in terms of responsibilities? What are your
So
thoughts
what?
on that?
Yeah, so role, so within your experience section, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, cool. The more the merrier. I mean, I'm going to go over it in a little bit more detail
Okay,
in a
sorry. Yeah,
second, but no, no, no,
sounds
it's
good.
absolutely fine, because I'm going to go into something after I talk about the networking section, which is all about keyword optimization. So the
Okay.
more details you can get in that, I mean, paragraphs aren't necessarily helpful, but
Mm.
paragraphs can be good because you can include a lot more keywords within those, which is really going to help people find you. So I'll go over that in a little bit more detail. There's a
Sure.
lot of that in the actual playbook itself.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, on point 3, which is the networking-ish section, it's also going to help with making you more visible. This is all about attending webinars. I mean, you're on one today, so you know that's you know,
Yeah.
you're on the right track. So if you can find webinars that are industry specific, which are easy to come across, all you do is you go in the search bar on LinkedIn, type in, let's say, real estate, go on to events, and it'll just bring up a list of webinars and events that you can jump on. Now,
Mhm.
the reason this is really powerful, so obviously you're going to get an education from the webinar itself, but the reason this can be utilized to grow your network is you can, once you join, you can connect with the people that are hosting the webinar. These are
Yeah.
normally going to be recruiters specific to your industry, or leaders for companies within your industry. So, you know, these are people that you want in your network, you know, regardless. And the webinar works as a nice little open door for you to start a conversation, similar to my Arsenal coriander thing. You know,
Yeah.
it's a mutual, yeah, you know, it's a mutual thing that you can use as an excuse to send that first message, get that, you know, that first contact rolling. Also, even if it's not held by a recruiter, I guarantee there's going to be industry recruiters watching it.
Mhm.
They're doing something very similar to you. They're looking for people to network with as well. So you will also be able to find the list of attendees, and you can go through these people one by one. You can pull out industry leaders, anybody specific from your industry that you want to connect with, and any recruiters that are on there. Send them a connection message. Again, use that webinar as that excuse, you know, to send that first message. You don't have to feel nervous or anything like that by approaching them, because you've got something mutual that you can just start a conversation with. And again, even if it's not for now. Growing that network with these people is just going to pay dividends to you in the future.
Makes loads of sense. What was that, number 3? Do you have any
That
more tips
was
before?
number 3. Yep, cool. And then keyword optimization goes back to similar to what Carly was on about within your profile, how much detail to go in. So basically, as recruiters, when we're hunting for a role and we're hunting for somebody, what we effectively do is create a big long list of words that we want to find from somebody's profile. You know, we put that into
Mhm.
LinkedIn and it gives us back all the profiles with those list of words. So it's important to have in there things about your current role. But if you're looking for a role, say for example, you work in, well, I'm in prop tech, so let's say prop tech, and you're an account manager that wants to go into a business development manager position. Put yourself in my shoes. If I'm looking for a business development manager and you're not one, what words am I going to be putting into LinkedIn to find that business development manager? And there's probably crossovers from your role that you can use in order to put some of those keywords in. So if you're an account manager, put things in like if you're working with any new business, a new business would be a keyword that I'm looking for. So new business, lead generation, anything like that. The more words you can come up with that are similar to that are going to be involved, sorry, in the role that you are looking for, the more of those you can get in your profile, the more likely somebody is to find you that is looking for the role that you want rather than the role that you're in, if that makes sense. Did that make sense?
Yeah, that did make
Yeah,
sense. Yeah, so you've got to be
cool.
thinking about what you want rather than necessarily what you're in, if it's slightly different.
Yeah, exactly. So you need both. You need to be, honest and open and
Yeah.
transparent about what your current role is. But if you can shoehorn some of those keywords in, um, people are going to find you that normally wouldn't find you because they're looking for something different to what you are. So that's really important. Again, there's a whole section about that in the playbook. And the fifth one
Excellent.
is similar to the profile, which is a very basic one, but keep your LinkedIn profile up to date. It's amazing how many people don't do it. We phone people up and go, oh yeah, I left there 6 years ago. I've had 3 more jobs. Well, update your LinkedIn, definitely do that. And if you start doing it now, once you've got your house sorted, it's easy enough just to update that every time you move. And hopefully you won't be doing that too often. So it's not that much work. Um, but with that, also recruiters will be looking for specific degrees as well. So definitely have your education sorted on there as well as your experience.
Excellent. Just one question here, sort of
Yeah.
related to that. James Hansen asked, what about not to do's? Are there any sort of, when putting a profile together or updating a profile, anything that you see as common mistakes? I suppose we touched on maybe not including a picture
Yeah, so
or
picture the headline's a really big one for me. I actually find it quite
mm,
frustrating that not a lot of people do it. And do you know, actually, it's actually surprisingly quite not a hard thing to do, but unless you know where to look on LinkedIn to add it, that's probably why not a lot of people have it.
mhm.
Again, this is in the playbook as a way to figure out. I actually do a step-by-step guide on how to actually implement that onto your profile. But that's a big thing that I think not a lot of people are doing enough of. And also similar to going back to what Carly said about how much information to have in your LinkedIn profile, pages and pages and pages. Like I said, 6 to 8 seconds we take to read a CV. It's not a massive amount more on a LinkedIn profile. It is a little bit more just because of the way that it's structured, but paragraph after paragraph after paragraph is not relevant. You can use effectively bullet points to highlight what you've done in each role. Um, and figures are a big thing. If you can quantify your role with numbers and put them in that LinkedIn profile, we love to see that percentage of targets, all that kind of stuff. That's an amazing thing to see as well.
Key achievements and things like that, some
Yeah,
tangible
100%.
sort of things to look at. Brilliant. Okay, well, look, Joe, thanks so much for your
Yeah, no worries.
sort of quick tips today. I've put in the comments section the link to be able to download the playbook, so people can access that straight away if they want to, and download it for free. Obviously, if people ever want to speak to any of us here, and Joe specifically, as he's joining me today, then by all means, please reach out and get in touch. We're happy to advise or offer any tips at all on your recruitment search or your job search, or even if you're a company looking to hire people. Obviously, we advise. So please reach out. But yeah, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It was a lovely spur of the moment activity. It's good to join you.
Good stuff. Thanks everybody for watching. So
Cheers.
goodbye.
Ciao, ciao.
Cheers. Bye.